Welcome back to the farm, everyone. We've got some modest temperatures today and another round of wind. A lot of wind lately, which is good for drying the ground out. It's bad for audio quality, so I do apologize in advance. Over the last week, we were fortunate here at home to miss multiple rounds of severe storms and tornadoes. At this point, many of you are up to speed. We had a tornado about 6 miles to the southeast. There was one reported 14 or 15 miles to the north of us. A few days later, I believe there was another tornado about 20 miles northeast of us. So we may be in Tornado Alley this year. That or we're just getting all the action at once. Since we were lucky enough to miss the damage on these rounds, to summarize all the storms, we had about an inch of rain over the last week. With how dry we were, that's just enough to keep the topsoil a little bit damp. Underneath, though, the subsoil, I've been fixing tile holes over the last few days. It's pretty dry until you get down to the water level about 5 or 6 feet in the ground. I'm not saying it's bone dry, yet we would start to take some rains. As of a few days ago, it is also spring now, officially on the calendar. We're in late March, and most importantly, today is my wonderful and beautiful wife's birthday, so everyone give Allie a big happy birthday in the comments. I think the weather has cooperated in a way that we will be able to celebrate tonight, and I won't be on tractor duty. It is dry enough that there is a possibility in the next few days, barring more rain, that we could do some field work. Most likely a little bit more spraying. There is a chance of rain next week, so we're probably not going to get too gung-ho with tillage or planting. There is something questionable I wanted to show you, though, and I'm kind of scratching my head at this one. On the big double sliding doors on our cold storage shed where we keep all of our valuable equipment, this is the handle. That's what they look like. That latches and secures the door. Take a mental note of what that one looks like, because I'm going to show you a different one. The last time these doors were closed and cinched down was prior to that round of tornadoes and severe storms that was really close to here. I did the north side and Katie did the south side here. And I want you guys to explain something to me. What in the world happened here? This is supposed to be straight. I don't know if the wind pulled on the door hard enough to bend this. Do we need to drug test Katie for steroid abuse? She's the one who latched this down. I've never seen this happen. It's actually bent at a pretty significant angle. Remember, it's supposed to be straight like that bottom one with just a little bit of a lip on the end to kind of help grab and pull. Another plausible theory that I just thought of is Katie did drag that first field cultivator out by herself. She could have been closer to this than she realized and actually clipped it with the field cultivator, which that wouldn't make sense either because this protective rubber piece would probably be gummed up. I don't know. I've never seen that. Last week when I was spraying burn down, had everything nice and hot, we were running full speed, I noticed that my hydraulic reservoir level was actually all the way pinned to the top, and I was getting some spewing out of this cap slash vent. I'm checking with Colton at Mankey Ag Repair, our Hagee expert that I refer with, as to if this is plugged, needs replaced, needs cleaned, if it wasn't on tight enough, because there's a considerable amount of oil that ran out as well as down on the back side of this, and I don't really know if there's some kind of underlying issue or if something just needs replaced from where. In the comments of the video where I changed the hydraulic filters underneath this and made a mess, someone said, why don't you just drill a hole in the bottom of the filter and let the oil drain out? I wish that I had some of your experience and didn't have to learn lessons the hard way, because that would have been fairly handy and convenient and cleanly. Maybe next time, with the wisdom I've learned from my mistakes and YouTube comments on that video, I will drill out the bottom of the oil filter and drain the oil out, as opposed to just getting drenched and having to do multiple laundry passes on my jacket and my clothes to make them sanitary again. Colton's on the ball because I texted him my question, and then a few minutes later he said that I probably overfilled the reservoir. He said you actually need to keep it a ½ inch to an inch lower than where it says to fill it, because once it gets warm, it overpressures and then it'll just start squirting out everywhere. getting the equipment out, and Dad showed up. He's up to something I don't exactly know, and I'm not sure if I want to ask. Dad's working on replacing a suspension sensor on the 9620 Arcade. He had an error code pop up when she was working ground last week, and he's trying to replace it. He's a one-man band. He's got the tools in his hand and the flashlight in his mouth, and I'm just watching.
And I can't get to it.
I was wondering why you moved to the grass.
I got out of the wind is what I did.
I thought you were looking for the smooth, soft shop floor.
That didn't work.
I apologize in advance. You might see a stray butt crack.
I swallowed dirt.
I don't need glasses on under here.
For dirt?
Yes.
I have to take that piece off anyway.
Oh, there it is. There you go. I don't know if we're lined up piece to piece. I don't know about the screws though.
Oh, what now?
It only took him 4 hours. Don't worry though, the sensor is changed. He's just taking it for a test drive to see if any error codes pop up. Because usually if you don't get a sensor in the right place, it'll tell you. It didn't actually take 4 hours, more like 3.5. Now, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. The ground's getting close again. It's still March, too early, too cool to plant corn. I'm definitely interested in planting beans if that's possible. This field's a half-mile west of home, good ground, worked corn stalks. It appears dry. It's a darker soil, so it warms up quickly. I've checked it multiple times. Underneath the top inch, it's still fairly wet, so I don't think we're gonna be able to play in the dirt. Doesn't hurt to check it 100 times though in one day. As you can see, that top little bit is dry. It's this stuff that you want to be careful with because it kind of balls up and feel it's damp. It's close. If it was 70 degrees and not 60 degrees today, it would probably go. We've worked this wetter and planted in poor conditions. It's just too early to get ahead of the gun. Knowing Dad, he also probably put that tractor away for the day, even if I did want to hook a field cultivator up to it. He knows I'll get in trouble if I have too much freedom. What in the world is he up to? I almost don't want to know. I'm guessing he probably didn't agree with how I had things arranged in the shed while he was gone. To my surprise, Dad didn't rearrange a whole lot. He just backed the planter out so we could get another tractor in that little space that the planter was blocking. It's mostly still the same. We talked over the possibility of planting some soybeans. I'm not going to say that he was really too gung-ho on it, yet he was also not totally against it. The idea was completely nixed when we found out that our Pioneer dealer doesn't even have that variety of soybean in yet that we were going to plant on the farm I've been keeping an eye on. So can't plant the field, no reason to work the field, no reason to do anything. To put it simply, there's no reason to even daydream about going out there right now when there's no possibility of planting and everything that comes before planting is unnecessary. They said that they're going to have that variety in mid next week. I don't think that's on our dealer. I believe that's more of a corporate level logistical issue. I really don't know, and I'm not going to speculate as to who's at fault. It's really irrelevant at this point. I'm going to think about doing a little bit of spraying tomorrow if it stays warm, dry, and not windy. Now I'm going to take off and celebrate my lovely wife's birthday. By Saturday afternoon, the ground was so close to workable. I ended up doing a little bit of spraying, didn't bring the camera along, just enjoyed some alone time and music in the cab. Sunday, we were greeted with 4/10 of an inch of rain. That's no big deal at all. It's March, and it's much better than last year when every time it rained when we were close, it wasn't 4/10 of an inch, it was 2 to 3 inches. The current short to midterm forecast right now looks good for April planting to me, other than maybe being a little bit dry in the subsoil. I think we can limp our way through that as long as we start getting some rains in late May into early June. The sun and the wind will work some magic today. We're not going to get extremely high temperatures, maybe in the upper 50s. That will dry the ground off some. It's just not going to be passable in the next day or two. And then we have another round of rain coming mid to late week. We're gonna do some work inside today, I think. We've been dragging our feet on finalizing the corn planter. These ExactEmerge units take a little bit more setup than your regular MaxEmerge 5s. All you gotta do on these is put the plate in. The ExactEmerge also has the delivery brush system to accurately take the seed from the singulation plate down to the ground level. I could be completely wrong, and I welcome argument in the comments. We plant beans with a less precise unit because I'm not convinced at this time that an extra $100,000 of planter equipment on singulation and drop accuracy pays for itself on beans. Again, I could be wrong. I just don't know that the data is robust enough to spend the extra money and overcomplicate your bean planter currently. As research advances and data continues to pop out, maybe my opinion will shift on that. Again, soybeans are great at compensating to the population next to them. We can make generalized assumptions about planting target populations and emergence. I'm just not convinced currently, as I've said 1,000 times now, that soybeans need to be accurately placed. This gets them 96 or 97% within reason. The corn plants, we're looking for 99+% in singulation and drop spacing because corn seems to be much more particular. I've even heard some very fair arguments that corn spacing, as long as it's okay, also isn't make or break for yields. For us, it's more of a psychological and general sentiment thing. We know corn likes to be babied. We want to plant fast or reasonably fast, so we get these high-speed capable units of accurately placing the corn. The beans, more of a controlled spill is what we're going for there, and that is maybe a little bit of an undersell. Corn just has more data to support the fact that it needs to be spaced evenly. When we bought this corn planter, this was state-of-the-art. It had the newest units on it. Now it's still a very capable planter. It just doesn't have all of the current bells and whistles. The seed delivery system I don't think has changed very much. That design is still the same on our 2024, 2025 models as far as I know of. Now people are just kind of accessorizing differently. They got the spoked gauge wheels so mud doesn't get caught in there. Some people have pneumatic closing wheel systems. Again, one of those things I'm not entirely convinced on. Some people don't run no-till coulters. They might run a row cleaner. Some guys run starter systems. John Deere has the exact shot where it just puts the starter where the seed is. That's pretty neat. Again, it's like a lot of other technology. It's hard to argue that the advancements aren't there. The tough sell is whether or not there's actually any kind of economical return on investment. When it comes to this topic, I get really conflicted because I believe that it's important to have some of this high-tech stuff, yet my good friend and NCGA national champion, Troy Uphoff, plants his corn that yielded 385 bushel an acre last year with a 15-year-old, or maybe even older than that, Kinsey planter. It's nothing fancy, yet it gets the job done. It makes you wonder, are we taking way too much credit for what the seed genetics are doing both in corn and soybeans? And it's actually not all of our fancy equipment pulling the weight. It's just seed breeding is that much better. I don't know. Either way, we got to get this put together because it's going to be April soon and we will be planting. We have to put the plate, cut plate in the unit itself and then the delivery brushes. As is tradition, Dad put them all in the back of his pickup truck and then drove away. So we're waiting on him to get back, and Chris and I are going to reassemble all these. We actually looked at changing the delivery belts. There's a belt in the brush system, and from what we evaluated, it doesn't need it. Might run another year or two. We did buy the brushes last year because we thought we were going to need them. Upon further inspection, I don't think we're going to need to spend that couple $100 a unit yet. There are a lot of wear parts on a planter, and the more complicated the planter gets, the more wear parts you have to replace. So you can make a very fair argument that at times simple is better. It's kind of why we went with the 20-inch row bean planter as opposed to the 15. Less units, less money to buy new, and of course we could let the plants and the genetics make up for the monetary investment of more rows and more hardware. A lot of arguments to be made on every side of this equation. Make sure you tension those. This is what the inside of those delivery systems look like, and this is the brush that Dad didn't think needed replaced. So I'm gonna run it for a few more years. It's loose right now when we put them on, we twist this lever on the back, tightens the spring here, and that tensions this, gets it nice and taut, and then the seed gets dropped off and delivered down from the unit to the ground. Simple yet complicated.
Where's the spray?
It's right there. It's the one without the lid on. It doesn't have any pressure. Everything's checked off on the list for the corn planter being ready to go. It's a pretty simple and redundant process after you've done it for a handful of years. The only thing we didn't do is actually test fire it. We just didn't want to back everything out and get it unfolded and go through all that stuff. So we'll do that on a nicer day. It hasn't exactly been super inviting outside. It doesn't feel that warm. The sun, the moderate temperatures, high 50s, and the wind have combined to really dry out this ground quickly again. We're just right back to where we were the other day. A few good dry days, and we'll be right on the verge of maybe planting some more beans. This ground's definitely still a little bit damp. You can see all that moisture there. But I might as well check and see how our beans are doing that have been in the ground for a long time. That little one is about 2 inches in the ground, and I'd say it's got 1/3 of an inch sprout on it. About the pace we're looking for. Here's another one right next door, also in the early stages of germination and growth. We're off to a great start, and this is exactly where I wanted our beans to be at. We're not in a hurry to get them out of the ground. Just want to get them started, keep them protected with a couple inches of soil, and then when the warmth comes in April, maybe they'll pop up. The ground's not as dry as it looks. I don't know what the forecast. Rain chance very marginally tonight, like 10 or 20%, a couple days, another chance of rain. I'm not sure that we're going to get another chance to work and plant beans in March, although I've been wrong before, so this may be our only experiment. The workday here is pretty much coming to its end. I've had enough of this wind. I'm going to go pretend to be productive elsewhere. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. And I sure hope everything's going great in your world. I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Have a good one. Peace!